Sometimes I feel as old as the Mojave Desert. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I think I look like a dead mule. That's only when I first get up in the morning. It was hurt this morning for about an hour after I got up. That's about all.
You just took a little bit of muffin in the morning? And
I took a little bit of muffin. It hasn't bothered me since. I haven't taken any more muffin. As you may have guessed, I have post-polio sequelae, which is the symptoms that follow polio, sometimes 20 years later, sometimes 40 years later. In my case, it took 60 years before they caught up with me. One of them is a lot of leg problems, which is why I'm in a wheelchair. Another one is that I feel 20 degrees colder than the average person, whatever the temperature is. I had polio at the age of 4. I was cured by the Sister Kenny method at a time when the American Medical Association was announcing her as a quack and a charlatan and a witch doctor. It was about 6 years after I was cured by the Sister Kenny method that the AMA finally admitted the method worked. Now nobody needs it anymore because nobody gets polio anymore. They got the vaccine for it. But I knew all my life I had post-polio syndrome, but it was always mild. I had they call myoclonism, which is spasms in the feet, which can be a damn nuisance when you're trying to sleep at night and the feet start jerking and waking you up. And then I had pains in the legs when I had to stand on long lines. I got to hate airports. I can walk a few steps. As a matter of fact, I can walk more than a few steps, but I'm not going to try it because if I fall down, everybody will be embarrassed and feel sorry for me. But you see, I can walk a few steps, which I couldn't do 2 years ago when the thing was at its worst. Post-polio syndrome really flared up. That will be 2 years ago next month. Really flared up. That will be 2 years ago next month. And boy, there was a week there when I could hardly move. Everything hurt. Going to the bathroom was like going to the South Pole with Admiral Byrd. I mean, getting from, oh God. I couldn't move anything without terrible pains. Maybe some of the dead muscles are coming back to life and the cell bodies are putting forth axons and dendrons. That's what's supposed to be happening anyway. Somehow dealing with the post-polio has given me a greater self-esteem, as they say nowadays. I feel, hell, I'm dealing with this very well. I feel pretty good about myself. And I still have time to think about other people, which is very important. The worst thing about illness is it makes you self-centered. I don't think that's happened, really. So I think you can get a lot out of an illness. Processing interactions, tuning in interactive processes. Processing interacting is all I ever tune in. I cannot tune in anything but interacting processing.
The biggest thing I got from Bob is that all of our reality constructs are models. You know, all of them are approximations, are metaphors, are allegories for what's going on. And that we live in a world where we are all negotiating. We're negotiating on behalf of our stories.
All thought is metaphor. The map is not the territory. Every verbal map we make is a metaphor, but existence is not words, it's not mathematical equations. The universe is much bigger and more complicated than any little map we can make of it. The map is not the territory. The words that describe the map are not the territory, even further from the territory. So not only does the map not show all the territory, but the map is a generalization which doesn't fit any particular territory. what I perceive is not what's out there, it's just what I perceive.
Blake said in his attack on Newton, the scientist says the sun is a molten rock in the sky. Can you not see that? Blake says, I cannot see that. I see a choir of angels singing glory, glory, glory to the Lord God omnipotent. And that's Blake's reality. Both realities are equally right, depending on where you're at. If you want to do a chemical analysis of the sun, you use the scientific reality. It's not a rock anymore, it's a nuclear furnace. But you use the latest scientific reality. But subjectively, I understand how Blake felt when he saw the sun as a bunch of angels singing glory, glory, glory to the Lord God. I've seen trees doing that. That's a very valuable reality tunnel to be in. One doesn't contradict the other.
You know, we each create a story, a narrative, a picture, an allegory, a model for what's going on here, and then we fight, sometimes to the death, to make others, if not believe in that model, we fight to be able to keep believing in it ourselves. So we try to erase contradictory evidence to that model.
I agree with the Buddha. There is no meaning in life. Meaning is in sentences. Meaning is in symbols that symbolize life. Life itself does not have a meaning because that's what meaning refers to. Meaning refers to life. To look for meaning in life is like looking for trees on a map. You can find squiggles that represent trees, but you find the trees there. The squiggles only represent the trees. Or the rivers. You can't wash in a river on a map. You got to find a real river in the non-map world. Is that clear? I'm trying to make a difference between the words and the metaphors and the existential experiences.
But it also becomes where I end up kind of parting ways philosophically with him too. You know, I get the feeling that Bob is not just aspiritual but anti-spiritual. You know, he doesn't believe in God or spirit or a special super reality connecting us all, because it's not there, because it's not evident, because it's not apparent. And I feel in a way like Bob's worldview, having passed through the chapel perilous of wonder, that his view now is that, well, there's nothing. You know, this is it, period. As far as I'm concerned, the idea that there's nothing is just another what if. You know, it's the skeptic in Cosmic Trigger. It's the skeptic's worldview, but it's just a worldview, and I don't think it's any intrinsically safer.
I have heard it said in a critical way that Robert Anton Wilson doesn't believe in anything, and if that is true, then I applaud him for that, because that is the hallmark of a truly free man. As long as you subscribe to a dogma, any dogma, no matter how benign, you will never be free. And if Bob doesn't believe in anything, that is not to say that he doesn't care about things. I think he cares about things passionately. It's just that he hasn't allowed the central focus of his intellect and his emotions to be usurped by some ideology. But maybe